Hi everybody. We still have people joining, so let's give everybody a few more seconds to join. Great, so why don't we get started? Welcome everybody to the webinar of the Croatian localization. Lou, you mind changing the slide? So my name is Dennis, and also joined by Lou today from our SuiteApp team as product owner. We will be having a few slides for you today to go over the big picture and then deep dive into the actual Croatian localization and talk a bit more in detail about that one. And towards the end of the session, we will have a few minutes for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to utilize the chat, and we'll answer those towards the end of the webinar. Next slide, please. Wonderful. Thank you, Lou. So just quickly about Staria. So Staria is today 500 people strong, and we do operate in more than 7 countries with physical offices and many nationalities on top of that. We do have a customer base that is already more than 500 customers, and talking about the localization today, there's a lot of them as well. We are a solution provider for NetSuite, but more importantly for today's call, we are also a Suite Cloud Developer Network member. So we'll be talking about our SuiteApp offering today. Next slide, please. So we've been focusing on NetSuite since 10 years back. So this is the 10th anniversary year for our NetSuite business. The company as a whole is 20 years old, but half of that time we've been working with NetSuite. And for today's topic, if we can have the next slide, the localizations has been an integral part of this business. So as you may have heard and note on LinkedIn or any other forum, we launched our 10th localization suite app 2 weeks ago at our Growth Summit. So we're really excited about this, and thank you for everybody who's joining today. And that is for Croatia. We already done the Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, which are nowadays managed by NetSuite. We do also cover the Baltic countries for Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, as well as Poland and Hungary. So Croatia is the latest addition to the map that you see on the screen, and we're really excited for this opportunity and look forward to work with a lot of companies utilizing NetSuite in Croatia going forward. And now, next slide, please. On top of the localization suite apps, we do also have other suite apps. Just to quickly mention, we do also have a superb AP automation suite app, which resides and is natively within NetSuite. Next slide. And all of our localizations, and for that matter, the other suite apps that we have, has been verified and approved by NetSuite themselves. So for the localizations, there's only one official native suite app localization per country, and we're really proud to already been covering 10 countries so far. So that's something that we're really proud of and looking forward to working with you. Next slide, please. So really what the localization does is I tend to talk about them as add-ons for core NetSuite, because that's what they actually are. They're adding functionality as per a bundle to core NetSuite. giving you functionality in regards to VAT reporting, payment file templates, credit and invoice memos, and so much more. So that when you buy a localization bundle from Staria, you can essentially outsource the hassle of keeping NetSuite localized in the target country. And next, without going too much into other details, I'm sure everybody is here to hear more about the actual Croatian localization. So I'll be handing over the word to Lou. So please, Lou, if you want to take us through the actual functionality.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay, and as your business expands globally, you want to make sure, of course, that Oracle NetSuite will be able to support you in all countries, and it will allow you to operate in that region or that country specifically, right? So that's where our localizations come in. Specifically today, we will be talking about our Croatian localization and its growing set of features. And I say growing with emphasis because that's actually one of the major benefits of you as a customer subscribing to our product. Because the features of our Croatian localization can be grouped into 4 categories today. But in the future, if in case the tax regulations change, if the tax authority makes new legislations, we are here to support you and update our product with new features that will allow you to satisfy those new requirements. So now I'll go into those 4 categories, starting with the most important and what's been highly talked about with our Croatian customers. The VAT reporting or VAT reporting will allow you to prepare, preview, and generate the VAT report within NetSuite. We utilize NetSuite Save Searches to generate the reports, which I will give you a quick demo at the end of these slides. I'll show you the VAT report user interface and how we can easily preview and generate the output file, which is the XML file. The 4 VAT reports that we support today are number 1, the PDV, the VAT return, URA, the books of received incoming invoices, the ZP report, this is your EC sales list, and last but not least, the PDV-S report, which is your EC purchase list. And again, I'll go back to this topic at the end of the slide so we can log into our NetSuite demo account and demonstrate the feature to you. Next in our set of features is the currency exchange rate. As you all know, in Croatia, at the start of this year, Croatia has adopted Euro as its functional and local currency. So businesses events related to the period after that day of introduction needs to be recorded in Euro. What this feature allows us to do is to integrate your Oracle NetSuite instance to the European Central Bank to get the daily exchange rates. This solution once on a daily basis gets the exchange rates, and that will be used for your succeeding transactions. The correct exchange rate will be automatically in the system, ready for your use in the day-to-day transactions. Next in the set of features are what we call the sales invoice PDF templates. It might sound quite simple, but what this allows you to do is to quickly adapt and shorten your NetSuite implementation so that you get confidence that you already have the mandatory data, or should I say information, available on your sales invoices and credit memo printouts. This shortens the implementation time that you have to go through and make things ready for you. In fact, the next slide shows you a preview of the invoice in local language, which gives you a lot of information that is required for you to be compliant with regards to these mandatory information. In particular, I would like to bring your attention to the right-hand side preview, which is the second page. At the lower section of the image, you will find the VAT summary table. The VAT summary table summarizes your transaction lines into the VAT rates and gives you a summary for each VAT rate or exemption for that matter. The next slide will show you a preview of the credit memo, or in other words, the invoice correction. So in that sense, those are our sales PDF templates ready for you to utilize. Last but not the least in our set of features for the Croatian localization is our financial reporting templates. Together with the templates for the balance sheet and the income statement, otherwise known as the profit and loss statement as well, it comes with a set of the recommended localized accounting numbers for Croatia, so that when we implement the solution to you, those localized accounting numbers for Croatia are mapped to the correct subsections of the balance sheet and the income statement report, again in local Croatian language, as it has been prescribed by the Croatian law. Okay, so that was a quick walkthrough of the 4 major features, and now I'll quickly log into my NetSuite account and demonstrate how we can easily generate the VAT report in NetSuite. Okay, now you're seeing my NetSuite demo account. I will quickly go to the Reports tab, scroll down until I go and find the Croatia reports. These are our own custom records, which keeps previously created reports, or should I say generated reports, for previous periods that you have run in. Today, let me go through the URA report. This is, again, our books of received invoices for Croatia. Here you see I had one already run previously for January, but if I want to make a new one, I'll simply click on the new Croatia URA report button. I will select the subsidiary for which I want to run my report. The year is pre-populated and defaulted to the current year, and I simply need to select the month for which I want to run the report for and click the Save button. And that's pretty much the quick start for the URA report, and now we're ready to view the report. I click on the View Report button, and it will run for the selected parameters. You will notice that there's a loading icon here to indicate that the report is still being generated, and it will quickly open the report and give you a preview of the report that will be generated. At this point, it is not generated in the XML format yet. As you can see, there's still a Generate File button here. You'll find your header information for the report, such as the company you're running it for, the start and end date for the reporting period, the tax information, the activity, and the information for the individual preparing the report. Down below, you will find 2 sublists, which represents the data that needs to be converted into XML format and eventually submitted to e-Porezna, the official tax filing program for Croatia. So here, because the URI report is your books of received invoices, here you will find those invoice details. And this represents exactly the information that needs to be submitted to the tax authority. You will also find page number here if in case the number of data exceeds the page. You can quickly move to the next page to view more data. As you can see, each row number is a hyperlink. Clicking on the row number will open the detailed view of that row and will give you what transactions are driving the amounts that you see here. You will find that the detailed view is loading in the new tab. This in particular, row number 26, is being driven by this bill. So the bill was opened in the new tab. Okay, and the other tab here is your invoice list total. This is basically a summary of the amounts found in the invoice list and will be used to generate the XML file data. At this point, that was my quick review and rundown to verify and validate the correctness of the data being prepared for this period. I am now ready to generate the file. I click the Generate File button, and you will be notified that the Croatia URI file generation is in progress. Okay. Together with NetSuite Save Searches, we can create a notification that will notify the user once the report is ready for them to download. Otherwise, you can click the refresh button to check if the Croatia URI XML has been successfully generated. And then at this point, you'll have your XML file ready for download or for preview as well. And as you can see here, if you can validate this complies with the tax authority's XSD schema, which allows us to develop and design the correct XML data for download. All right, so that's a quick rundown of the URI report. I will run through another report because this is a very important report for Croatia because this is the VAT return, PDV. In the same fashion, it is very easy to remember how to generate the report. We will follow the same steps when we generated the URI report. I simply click on the New Croatia PDV button. I select the subsidiary I want to generate the PDV report for. Again, the year is pre-populated. I select my month, and then I click on Save. I'll click Cancel now because I actually have a report already generated for December. So I'm going to show you the saved report. In a similar fashion, as you can see, we have the same View Report button as well. Clicking on the View Report button now will give you a preview of the VAT return. For those of you who are familiar with the Croatian PDV return, you will quickly realize that the sections, as you can see here, the field groups in NetSuite represents the different sections of the VAT return. And within those sections, you'll find the different VAT tax positions and their reported generated amounts for the period. Okay, and you will also notice that for each tax position, you will find the View Details button. Clicking on the View Details button will open a preview of the detailed view of what is driving this total amount for this tax position. In the new tab, you will find the Save Search that is driving that position number 1 and the tax amounts that drives those totals. Okay, scrolling down, you will find the rest of the tax positions with similar function. Okay, clicking on the back button will now bring you back to your Croatia PDV record, where you will find the XML file, where it is saved and where you can download it. At this point, your Croatian user is now ready to download the files, log into the ePorezna tax filing program for Croatia, and upload the XML documents. And yeah, that pretty much sums up our quick demo for today to demonstrate the features. Dennis.
Wonderful. Thanks, Lou. Want to jump back to the PowerPoint and if we then jump to the Q&A section. We have one question, at least one here. I can take this one. So, does Staria have resources and consultants to help implement the bundles? So, yes, we do have a dedicated SuiteApp team internally with almost 30 NetSuite consultants only focusing on our SuiteApp offering. And what that team does is what also Lou well brought up, that we do the development, we do the implementation, and also the support from one team. So it's a centralized team that has a lot of experience with the localizations and other SuiteApps that we have, and is there for our customers and partners to help them get up to speed. And also going forward, as Lou mentioned, with future releases and updates to the bundles, because when we talk about the localization, they tend to see some changes in the specific countries in question, and as part of our service, we then update the bundles to reflect those changes. Also, another question, if you can print out the creation VAT report in PDF format. So not directly from NetSuite, but when you upload the file to the ePoresna software or web client, you're then able to also download a PDF version of that XML and report. Thank you. Let's see. Maybe Lou, you can take this one. We have a question. Do you need to use COA mapping accounting context with our bundle?
You can, but you don't have to necessarily. The accounting context is typically used if a pre-existing chart of accounts has been set up already for the parent subsidiary. And if you're implementing it for Croatia, let's say, it is recommended for you to use the localized accounting context, and we can configure our solution to adapt to that mapping.
Yeah, thank you. We also have another question here. If client is engaged for entering the invoices, EI bookkeeping, and we for VAT reporting, can you please provide us with the process flow? Is this something that you, Lou, want to answer now quickly? I was thinking that perhaps this is a question that we can get back over email to provide the process flow later.
Of course, we can provide additional information later, but just to quickly give a high-level summary of how it is done. Typically, we expect no additional steps for users entering such invoices, because during implementation, if you are familiar with NetSuite tax codes, the NetSuite tax codes is one of the primary drivers for where the transaction lines fall within the VAT reporting structure. So that is usually done in the front end during implementation. If there are no such changes throughout the year, let's say after it has been implemented, then your typical NetSuite transaction entry that you are already familiar with should be the same process flow for your users entering those transactions.
Thanks. Excellent questions. Thank you, everybody. That's all the questions that came in, or is there still some questions? I can wait for a few seconds. Can we get the recording of this? Yes. So we will be sending out a recording as well as the slides later this week. So definitely the recording will be shared. Thank you. Super. So I think that's all the questions that I can see here. Lou, anything that you want to add?
No, thank you.
Wonderful. So if nothing else, I do sincerely thank everybody for joining. Let's keep in touch and just send us an email if you have additional questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. So Staria is really happy and proud to now also localize NetSuite for Croatia, and we've done this for 9 other countries in the past already. So we're really looking forward to see how we can help Croatian companies going forward. But yeah, I think we're done. So thank you for joining. Everybody have a splendid rest of the day, and let's keep in touch. Thank you, Lou, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and have a good day.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Dennis. Thanks, everyone.